How's it going, guys? So this video is about DPDR, which is depersonalization and derealization. I did make a video on this around 2 months ago. It's on my YouTube channels and it's on one of my videos there on the Instagram if you want to check it out. But I just think it's very important to like a refresher, just to keep giving people the correct knowledge and the correct ways of what's truly going on with them. What is DPDR? Just like a refresher, just to let people know that like the main reason why I make these videos, and also other people that are trying to help people through this, the main reason why they make these videos is to normalize everything. And that's what I try to do with all these types of symptoms, and DPDR is a symptom of anxiety and stress. And the main topic, or the main thing the main take from this is just to normalize it. I think when you normalize everything that's going on in people's anxiety disorders, it makes a hell of a difference. Because everything is based on the misconception of what's actually happening in the body. The fears, like, it's just all irrational, and it's the same with the DPDR. So for me, DPDR, and not just for me, for a lot of people, for me it was the worst, and for a lot of people, that have been asked me to make these types of videos specifically on DPDR. I get so many messages saying, Glenn, do you ever experience DPDR? Can you do a video on it and stuff like that? So there's so many people struggling with this DPDR, and I just want to make the video, explain my own experience with it, and then explain basically what I've learned on the topic, exactly what it is, and just to give people the reassurance that they need, to let them know that this again is another, basically DPDR is basically a protection mechanism from the brain to when it's under too much stress. That's basically all it is. It's a harmless symptom of anxiety and stress. People, when they feel DPDR, because it's so bewildering, guys, it's so scary when you don't know what truly is going on. Even when you do know what's going on, it's still scary. It's one of those that it goes on for a long time that you feel like you can't recover from it, and that's where people get scared. But you can totally recover from it, and as soon as the nervous system heals, you'll see that. But we'll get into it, and we'll start to dampen down the fears of what people go through, what they think when they're going through DPDR. So we'll go into that as the video goes on. DPDR, so basically it's a harmless mechanism, another protection mechanism, that the brain just goes into when we're struggling with too much stress. When we're struggling with too much stress, the brain will just automatically click into this DPDR. Like, it almost feel like it's just a feeling of just unreality, feeling so like off balance. I remember when I had it really bad, like my mind was so fragile to this, that because I didn't know what it was. And basically I'd be like looking at my hands and think like you wouldn't know who you are, like, because you don't know what it is. And when you don't have the correct knowledge, you can go into that type of thinking and start to think you're developing a break from reality, or a mental breakdown, or psychotic illness, or one of those, really, you can take it down that path of that rabbit hole of starting to think like something must be really off here. If I'm feeling like this, you feeling like things are unreal and stuff like that, and all it is too much stress on the body, guys. That's all it is. It's the nervous system on fully fight and flight mode, and it's just another symptom of anxiety, a harmless symptom, guys. People are scared, and I was as well, that from developing a mental illness from this. And I just want the people to let you know that just doesn't happen from DPDR. You will not go on to develop any form of mental illness from this. So rest assured on that, guys. DPDR is, nothing comes from this, guys. It's a harmless mechanism from too much stress in the body, and complete elimination of the symptoms and feelings of DPDR can happen overnight. All it is time, guys. That's the hard part about, like, it is like the healing of a broken leg, and your brain's trying to get into that. It's always trying to reach that stage of homeostasis and get yourself back into that healing, back into that back into parasympathetic mode, because you're stuck on sympathetic, which is fight and flight. And what you want to do is you want to give it time and let your body heal naturally. And when we're just constantly like pumping fears into us and adding second fear, we're not truly giving our body that time to rest, which is why these conditions prolong themselves. But when we get the right tools, the right information on how to deal with this, we go from, attaching those second fears and pumping so much extra stress through our body that if we just give it time, it does heal like a broken leg, and complete elimination of the symptoms of DPDR. So if anyone is out there struggling with it, and I know some people are really struggling with it, I'm in contact with them. And, I'm constantly reassuring them that this just takes time. It's one of those symptoms of anxiety that, certain symptoms of anxiety can be there, and then, you won't feel them for a while. Although that's if certain people are, depends where you are in the condition. If you're actually fully stuck in fight and flight, you'll be feeling all these symptoms 24/7. But some people get a break from it. But when it comes to DPDR, it can be quite relentless. But the thing is with DPDR, like that's what really makes people feel stuck, and that's what makes people feel that they can't get out of this, because DPDR almost outweighs the other symptoms of anxiety, because I guess it's just a little bit more fearful for everybody. None of us would like that feeling of feeling detached from reality, and all it is it's just from too much stress, guys. I'll give you an example, right? So when I first had I was stuck in that for around 16 months of, like, when I first had my first panic attack in Lanzarote, my first panic attack ever. I didn't know what was happening to me. And with that then, just the stress that came with it, like I didn't have a clue what panic was. And when I had my first panic attack, I can just remember I had my panic attack at 2 a.m. I didn't sleep all that day, and I woke up at woke up, but eventually got my day started around 7, 8 a.m. the next day over in Lanzarote. And I remember just literally like walking and looking around, and it's like I didn't know, like, it was, of course I knew how I was, but it was like this weird feeling came over me, and I just kept thinking that something's not right here, and I kept repetitively telling myself that something's off, something's after happening, like I just feel different, just overnight, just like that. So yeah, anyways, that was DPDR, and I never forget it, guys. I went home to Ireland then 2 days later, and I had it just consistently and constant, for around well over a year, guys. At least 16 months I had that DPDR, and then when I started to eventually heal then, and literally it never came back. The DPDR never came back for a long time, unless I had a really bad panic attack, or a really bad stressful event in my life, or an exposure that I couldn't do and I was doing it the completely wrong way. I would go into this DPDR, just couldn't cope, just too much stress on the body, and I'd get this feeling the DPDR and it'd be so scary. And with that then, that's the only time that I ever started to experience it, after that 14 months of having it consistently. It totally went, and then it would only come back because of the panic attacks that I would get, and it wouldn't last as long, like it would go after a couple of days or even a couple of hours. But I want to give you another specific thing that happened to me, and this sums DPDR up. So again, as I've recovered from the anxiety disorder, there was a tragic event that happened in my family 3 months ago to almost this day. My uncle, I was over in Paris 11 o'clock at night, and my mum called me and says that listen, I have bad news, that your Uncle Peter, he's passed on, and he died a couple of hours ago. I didn't know how to tell you, and literally, I remember sitting on the bed in there, and I just flooded with this, and I haven't felt this in years, since I've recovered, like 3 years, and I just felt this wash come over me, and I just burst out crying. And so obviously that's an emotional release. It's a traumatic, I'm just after hearing some traumatic news. My brain doesn't know how to cope with it almost, and that's the protection mechanism. That is the protection mechanism kicking in. I've just experienced I've just been told a traumatic event has happened. I find it hard to deal with it. Emotions are coming up. My brain literally went into DPDR. I remember then walking with my girlfriend and walking with my dog up the street of Paris. I left and said I had to go out and walk. And I remember just walking up, and I literally can't remember what way we walked. I can't remember anything my girlfriend said to me. I can't remember. All I was thinking was just inwardly, DPDR. And eventually then, like, that did last for a while, but I noticed then after like an hour then when I got back to the apartment, like, jeez, that was DPDR, that was, yeah, that's crazy, like, and I totally understood what it is and knew, like, thank God it's there to protect me, because too much stress. Yeah, so it was, that's one prime example of DPDR. And even when you go through when you recover from all this and you have an event like me, that's what will happen. Your nervous system would have healed after a long time after recovery, but that won't stop you from going into DPDR when you hear a traumatic event like that. That's what it's built in. It's a built-in mechanism to protect you from too much stress and too much trauma. So that's a prime example of what DPDR is. I literally didn't feel it for many, many years, and a stressful event just triggered everything off. And DPDR, but after a couple of days, got back to Ireland, went through the funerals of that, and it's gone. It's probably lasted around 48, 50 plus hours, because stressful events do take that long to, I need to take it on a plane and get back over to Ireland and then have the funeral to go to. So my brain was stuck in this stress response, and this DPDR helped me get through that. So I was very grateful for that my brain and body are working perfectly. But obviously with the disorder, it's not working perfectly if you're stuck in this 24/7. And all that is, it's just from too much stress in the body, that what you've just experienced. And all you have to do to overcome DPDR is give it time. Don't ever be scared by the thoughts that this creates. These thoughts that come with DPDR they're not you. Accept them. Those thoughts are just there because your body is stressed out. They have nothing to do with who you truly are as a person, as a man or a woman. That they just don't mean anything. So don't even believe your thoughts when you don't have this disorder. So really don't believe them when you're going through it. And the DPDR, it's you can totally overcome this, guys. It's the thing that when you first get it, it can persist for a long time. Like I had mine for nearly 2 years, and it was so difficult. So difficult to do anything. I felt on autopilot on everything I'd done. And I think it's very important to make this video again to elaborate on my own knowledge of it and my own personal experience, to help those people that are going through, because they just feel so lost, and they just feel like this is something that they're not going to break out of, because every day it's relentless. You wake up feeling like this every day. And I just wanted to make this video to let people know that in time, just like you heal a broken leg, if a broken leg took 1 or 2 years to heal, this eventually just goes, and then gradually only comes back when you're going through a stressful time, because your nervous system would have healed where you don't feel this every day. So that's how you're going to heal from this, guys. You're just going to have to give it time, and eventually complete eradication of DPDR will happen. Over time, your nervous system will start to heal. Your nervous system will start finding balance, and you will overcome this, guys. So whatever thoughts come up through this, don't fear them. Let them be there. I know you're going through a really horrible time with it right now. It's scary, I know that. I understand that. But just know that that's the reassurance that this does pass, guys. This is, it's not the monster that you think it is. You can befriend it in ways. Thank you for being there for me. I was going through a rough time in my life. Thank you for, that mechanism truly helped me. Thank you. But please, we can start to leave me soon, because I want to get back to normal. I want my normal life to resume. So I appreciate you, but start shifting soon, please. And that type of self-talk is nice, but as the brain and the body comes back into homeostasis and your nervous system finds the way to heal, DPDR is gone. And same for intrusive thoughts and stuff like that. The thoughts that come with the DPDR, totally gone, guys. So I almost come up to 15 minutes here, and I never want to make a video longer than that, because then you have to edit and shit like that. So yeah, I hope this was helpful for people, and yeah, comment down and let me know your experiences with DPDR, and you're going to be absolutely fine. This does not leave any permanent damage to the brain or nothing like that, guys. So yeah, you're going to be absolutely fine. Just grind, keep going, okay? And it's not permanent, guys. Take it easy.